There used to be a slogan at MGM, and it was, there are more stars at the studio than there are in the sky. Well, of course, that wasn't true. But I've got to say, you've never seen so many stars in one place, even the Cannes Film Festival, as those who were here for the awards gala of the Palm Springs International Film Festival. And we're going to take a look at some of those stars and their arrivals, and then talk about the heart of the festival, which is the filmmakers, after this.
Thanks to the Camelot Theaters for supporting the arts, bringing award-winning and nominated films, art films, and documentaries to the Coachella Valley. Thanks also to Rick and Rosine Supple, supporting the arts in the Palm Springs Cultural Center. Sirp and John Conti Foundation. Stephen Philibosian Foundation, supporting the arts and the Virginia Waring International Piano Competition. Coachella Valley History Museum, sharing the unique history of the desert and its pioneers. Dr. Carrion Foundation, providing scholarships for Coachella Valley Mexican-American students.
Spencer's Restaurant at the Mountain, a popular Palm Springs tradition of culinary excellence and comfortable informality, is proud to support public television.
They've gotten so many amazing people in one place. It's pretty exciting. Like, you're looking at Meryl Streep right now, got Tom Hanks right there. It's you don't get jaded to that. It's really kind of thrilling. Even for someone who thinks they're jaded, you get around these people and you just get happy.
You want to see? This is why you come. Here's why you come, to say hello.
Looking for someone to interview
lights.
me.
Oh.
Okay.
You know what? There's sometimes you get to make a couple of movies in a row.
I'm here for Tom Hanks tonight.
Kiss her.
I've written such a good speech.
Oh
it's
my
17
God.
pages long though. They told me to speed it up.
You've got all the time in the world here. This isn't on TV. You look sensational.
We're in Palm Springs.
By the way, Miss August Osage County, where's your sash?
I know.
Can I just ask? I'm going to ask you a question right here on camera. How many days was that dinner scene? How many days did it take?
4.
That's it?
Maybe 3.5.
I would have thought 2.5 weeks.
I'm Julia, by the way. I'm sorry, I just crashed your whole... Oh, thank God they're official.
Were you here? Are the kids at the hotel or anything like that?
No.
You just blew out here and
we
did everything? Okay.
We did.
Where were you 24
Where's
hours
Mrs.
ago?
Hanks?
We were on a plane.
Don't tell me she's not here.
No, she's not here. We were on a plane back from holiday in which we had a dog loose on a leash and my granddaughter upchucked on the floor right next to me.
Okay, this is the stuff that holiday dreams are made of.
Oh, but it's all glamorous. It's all glamorous. So then I put on a tie and came here to be with you.
I am now with Daryl McDonald, who is the executive director of the Palm Springs International Film Festival. We just celebrated the 25th anniversary. How would you say this? I mean, it was so phenomenal. The gala was phenomenal. The films are phenomenal. So what do you want to say about the differences since you started, because you started with us festival very early.
Way back in the beginning, actually, 1990. And Gloria, what can I say? I mean, it's a quantum leap forward. Actually, it's taken a quantum leap forward year by year and decade by decade. But nothing we've done before has approached the scope of this year's festival. The star power on that stage last night, events like this, varieties tend to watch, and the Hollywood star power even here today. It's a terrific 25th anniversary present to the city of Palm Springs. And what can I say? I hope we have another 25 years just as great.
Well, I think it's just going to grow and grow. I read something that was in the paper today, and I really wasn't aware. Apparently you said it opening night, or Harold said it, and I was nursing bronchitis, so I wasn't there. And that is how many now the studios are calling to put people on the red carpet.
It's incredible. They're bringing their own people in who have nothing to do with the gala, but who are rising stars or actually associated with hit movies this year, just to get the attention they can get for that extra Oscar push and their upcoming movies going into the season. And you're right, that never has happened before, and it's again another turning point for the film festival, and speaks loudly to the amount of worldwide coverage this event gets.
Having you two, having Bono here was just amazing.
Absolutely. I just finished, in fact, introducing He and the Edge at the Annenberg, where they're doing a talking pictures program for us with Mandela, The Long Walk to Freedom. Again, we've certainly never had a musical guest of that stature at the festival, although we've had some great composers. He's a composer in his own right, of course, but he too is up for a Golden Globe this year and very likely an Oscar for his theme song for Mandela, Ordinary Love.
The film Mandela, it's really an extraordinary love story, a very complicated love story. So we wanted to write kind of a complicated love song to go with it. We're pretty good at complicated love songs, and so that's what it is. And Ordinary Love is about it also applies to the decency that people lose in struggles and civil wars and that kind of thing, but also the decency lovers lose when they become estranged.
It gets the word of Palm Springs out to a whole new audience, and indeed it broadens what this festival stands for and what it does, because the reason he was involved in the movie to begin with are the issues involved. And what this festival is about, first and foremost, is the films and the issues they address. So having somebody of that stature here, because of what he considers to be an important platform, the festival, to speak about the issues that matter to him is really a special thing.
You know, I noticed at the gala last night that while you had these tremendous stars, still the issue of activism came up over and over and over again. All of these are people who are interested in our world and being part of, well, we're all part of the world, but making it better.
No question, but I think that's one of the things about this festival that attracts that kind of talent, that mega talent, those big stars here to the festival, because believe me, they get tons and tons of invitations to appear at festivals and events year-round. But the credibility this festival has built for itself in terms of its film lineup, the issues addressed, the fact that we're presenting films from 60 or 70 different countries around the world, films from different cultures, different societies, all walks of life, brings credibility to the event itself, and is one reason that these stars and big Hollywood names feel good about aligning themselves with the festival.
So I'm very grateful to the Palm Springs Film Festival for this Icon Award, even though it isn't very helpful it isn't helpful to be thought of this way, because you need each other. We're all the same size. Some of us are thinner. Some of us are heavier, but we all count. And for an actor, it's being heard and felt that counts.
Well, I want to thank you, Daryl. I mean, you have done a spectacular job, and certainly you deserve a lot of the credit.
Thank you very much.
A great deal of it, so thank you.
It can be shared amongst hundreds, believe me. This is a labor of love and a collaboration for so many talented and absolutely dedicated people, not least of which is, of course, our chairman of the board, Harold Matzner.
Variety, a publication that once was called the Showbiz Bible, but now has gone digital, but remains important, comes out every year with the 10 directors to watch. And they include some of today's biggest directors who were chosen several years ago. Doing that film, which is based on a true story, as you know, of course, and working with Disney, was there a lot of pressure? Did you feel that there'd be pressure from the Disney studio?
I was a little worried. The script was completely developed outside of Disney, so it came in fully formed, and they were able to make a judgment about whether they wanted to do the movie based on a completed script, so that was helpful. But I was worried. I love those guys at Disney. I've worked with them before, and so they said, no, we really like the script. We want to make this movie, and so I trusted them, and along the way, they were great partners in this. So.
Well, you've done, of course, so many other good movies, like Blind Side, which was wonderful. And how important is this movie to you?
You know what? Every movie you do is like a child, and so you love them all equally. And some of them shine a little more brightly when they leave the door than others. But the experience, the process, and this is a movie that's very much about the creative process. So it has a special place in my heart.
Had you ever worked with Tom Hanks before?
I had not worked with Tom. I knew Tom just a little bit. So when I was able to sit down with Tom and talk about playing Walt Disney, that was kind of a treat. I don't know what we would have done if he'd have said no.
All right, Colin Farrell.
Let's do it.
What a thrill.
What a thrill for me to be here standing before you.
Nice.
You're
Now
very
listen,
yellow. You look beautiful.
you do all these interviews. You can't tell them all, they're fabulous.
I don't like to miss an interview that I have the opportunity to do. That's not necessarily fully true.
I don't believe, I really don't. I mean, last night was crazy.
Last night was big, wasn't it? I hadn't been to this festival before. It's a lot more bigger and a lot more extravagant than I thought it would be. This was really special. Save Mr. Banks, the one I did with John Lee Hancock. It was really,
yeah,
really
and you were
was.
wonderful in it.
2 weeks, but it was a really, really special 2 weeks.
I mean, it's amazing to think that the person who wrote Mary Poppins actually had such an unpleasant background.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the lines, the dots were joined by Kelly Marcel's imagination, plus what she could find out about P.L. Travers' upbringing. And there was scant information on her upbringing, really, and the version of her father that I played was kind of one of in a way, a dramatic contrivance as well. I mean, we don't know what he was like at home. We do know that he liked to drink a little bit too much, and he died earlier than he should have, and he did lose work and went from town to town a little bit, but yeah, that's the nicest thing you can say about a film, is that it makes you feel, I think. Not just think, but feel.
I have to say that our viewers know you, of course, for Bridesmaid, both you, Ben, and Melissa, and it made quite an impact.
It was a doozy. It was such a fun, that was one of the most fun things we've ever done. It was.
Now, you do have a new film out now.
We do. That's why we're here today. Ben is delightfully being recognized as one of the 10 new directors to watch, and we wrote Tammy together, and he directed it.
And she's Tammy. So it's a family affair.
Yeah, it's kind of wonderful. It was me, Susan Sarandon plays my grandmother, and Kathy Bates, and Toni Collette, and Dan Aykroyd, and just this. We kind of got. I'm not sure how, but every dreamy person that we said, oh, if we could get this person, and then somehow it all kind of happened, and it was just a dream. It really was.
Yeah.
I want to wish you lots of luck, and of course, I know with Variety choosing you, you're going to go on to a great directorial career.
I hope so. Thanks.
How you doing? Jonah Hill. Oh my gosh, you are so nasty in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you're bad.
Bad man. Yeah, it was interesting getting to play someone that bad.
It's quite a change from the comedy that you've been doing.
Yeah, I've gotten to do some dramas, and what I really like is a couple years ago I did a film called Moneyball, and that was a drama, and then this was a drama, but the characters are completely different from one another. So for me, it's exciting to get to just play very different people.
You were just fascinated by your director and you were almost intimidated by him.
Not almost, I was incredibly intimidated by him. Martin Scorsese is my favorite artist of all time, any form, and by far and away my favorite filmmaker ever, and Goodfellas is the reason I want to make movies in the first place, and so to get to even meet him was the coolest thing ever, let alone get to collaborate with him work for him for 6 months.
Well, you said you were nervous at first, but then you finally obviously relaxed.
After a couple months, it was over a 6 month shoot, so after the first maybe 3 months, I think I finally calmed down a bit.
Well, you were just great at it, and obviously that says a lot also for a good director as well as a good actor.
Well, yeah, it was the best experience of my life.
It's a great pleasure to have Jack Jones here. He is, as David O. Russell said last night, a local resident. But
I'm a local.
you are in American Hustle, and there you were on the stage with everybody.
That was the biggest hustle of them all that I got in there.
Well, you know, it's true that your part is not very large, but as David O. Russell said, he established and wanted to establish someone of your caliber, or Tony Bennett's, you know, either of you, doing this song that you do.
Well, what he wanted, and I flew to Boston to do it, he wanted that moment, that feel-good moment, and that song, written by Cy Coleman, really set up the whole relationship of those two, and so it was a feel-good moment, so it worked.
Sure. Beneath the Harvest Sky is a coming-of-age story about two teenage boys in northern Maine who are trying to figure out what to do with their lives, and they get caught up in the illegal prescription drug trade between Canada and the United States.
And I bet that happens a lot.
It does happen a lot, yeah. We went up there and we really based the entire thing on actual events that happen up there. So tried to make a very authentic movie of what it's like growing up in northern Maine.
How about the fact that Variety did select you among the top 10, which you all have gone on to great careers?
It's phenomenal to be able, and such an honor to be able to be selected within this group. We can't imagine what it's like to be able to now move forward on our next projects, to have the support of Variety behind us. It means a tremendous amount to us.
Yeah, I mean, to see the list of directors that have been selected before us, it's a pretty great group to now be a part of. So we're excited to see what it means for the future.
Yeah. Okay, I want to say you do offbeat films. I mean, you deal with things that are not pleasant.
Yeah.
What is it that turns you on about that?
I don't know. It's something there about having a very tricky main character, a tricky subject, is a thing for me. And it's always been like my third film was about two fundamentalists, girls who try to liberate themselves, and of course Heart of a Lion about the neo-Nazi. Having a main character as a neo-Nazi and making him even a little bit sympathetic in some levels. I think it's something that rouses me, and I don't know where it comes from. Maybe something tragic that happened to me in childhood, I don't know.
You are dealing with neo-Nazism in this, and it's a pretty frightening group of people. So what prompted you to do that?
Well, the thing is that I think prejudices work both ways. So at the start of the film, the screenwriter Alex Abarty saw a neo-Nazi in a children's cinema, and he had two blonde boys with him and then one Asian-looking boy with him, like 8 years, 10 years old. And the guy was being very kind, you know, but he was wearing the tattoos, the attitude, the clothes. So we started talking about the prejudices work both ways. So we wanted to investigate that and kind of liberate every one of us from prejudices. And I think that neo-Nazism at the moment, and I suppose the right wing, can rise because there's an economical issue or there's a recession. And when there's a recession, as you know, human history, the right wing always rises. And so we needed to do this film to kind of stop that.
You are being honored by Variety, and what does that mean to you?
Well, I was just telling people that I'm quite overwhelmed, and you know, you're just a young boy every time. It's kind of like getting an accepted by mom. You get a hug from mom, like your movie is good, be happy about it, enjoy it, and I think it's important for the film. Also, the message of the film that it spreads. And it's just really nice.
I'm talking to Mark Halpern, who's president of Magic Lamp Films. But Mark brought the very first film that opened the very first film festival, Palm Springs International Film Festival, and then went on to win, I believe, the Oscar, right?
Yes, won the Oscar.
Yeah. Cinema Paradiso, which was fabulous.
Yeah, that was back in 1989, and I was at Miramax at the time, and we got a call from the head film bar at Metropolitan Theaters, which was the circuit here. And he told us about the festival, and he wanted something special. And they wanted Cinema Paradiso. We had an embarrassment of riches at the time, because that was the year we had Sex, Lies, and Videotape and My Left Foot and Cinema Paradiso, all opening before the end of the year.
All right, now how does this festival compare to the others? Because each one has a different personality.
With the Oscars and the Golden Globes all occurring at this time, it's a natural place for a festival to be. And it's the start of the season. It's the first festival of the new year. And it's a great way to bring everybody together and bring the press, journalists, and the stars together so that the public can find out about these new films.
Everyone is talking about your film, Belle. It was the opening night for the film festival, and everybody raved about it.
I mean, it was an overwhelming response. I hoped people would like it. I hoped they'd be touched and they'd be moved, but I didn't expect the kind of response that we did get. And it's just a privilege. It's a privilege to make a movie, show it to an audience, and have them love it. It's based on a true story. It was a movie maker's gift when I saw a postcard print of a real portrait that exists of Dido Bell, who's the lead woman in the film, and standing next to her sister cousin, if you like. And I saw this postcard and I was like, wow, this is incredible. She really existed. I can finally make my period drama and it's going to have a black girl lead. It's like, it was my dream.
Well, you know, you were honored here as one of the 10 by Variety, so now here you are again, and that must, how meaningful was that, being chosen originally by Variety?
It's an incredible privilege to have been chosen by Variety, to be included in that list of 10 with all of those fabulous directors that are there with me. I mean, you know, recognition for a director does so much. It means that producers, studios take notice of who you are. It means that audiences hear more about the movie. So all round, it's a great thing that Variety does by supporting emerging filmmakers like this and kind of putting us on the map.
Now, you live in London.
That's right.
But you do fly to Holland a lot because your husband is with The Hague, right?
That's right. So my husband works for the European Police in The Hague. He is their chief spokesman, so we spend a lot of time in The Hague as well as in London. I married him because I thought I'd get lots of stories from him. I thought I was going to make the next homeland. Unfortunately, he tells me nothing.
Actually, you're the man in charge of all of this and acknowledging these wonderful young directors.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I'm sort of in charge of it in the sense that I kicked it off about 17 years ago, but as you saw, Peter de Bruges and my colleagues helped me run this, so it's Variety's love of making sure people know who the new talents are and being right up to the minute, and then actually being ahead of the minute so that we're telling people you should be paying attention.
Well, you know, I was fascinated to see that Steve McQueen, who's done such a great job with 12 Years a Slave, was one of the honorees some years ago.
Yes, and so was Ben Affleck and Chris Nolan, who did The Dark Knight, and Alfonso Cuarón, who probably will see Gravity in the Oscars this year. So we have 17 years of being mostly right.
Okay, now, there's so many movies. How do you see them all? How do you make the decision?
Well, the good thing is the way we operate our 10 to Watch, it's based upon our critics seeing movies, and we review more films than anyone in the world. So this is all based upon our kind of intelligence gathering. So we then take the reviews that we've seen and we start to curate, because the truth is we pick 10, but it's a curation. There's probably 50 that could be, you know, easily interchangeable, but these are the 10 that sort of capture our imagination.
And like one of the films, of course, Belle. And Ami was here last year? Was it last year that she was here before?
I don't know if she was, but I wouldn't be surprised because the festival's very good about discovering new talent.
Yeah, well, everybody's talking about Belle. At opening night, everybody raved about it.
The nice thing there was as an indication of how well we work together with the festival. We announced her as one of our 10 directors to watch. Her film wasn't locked in to the festival as opening night, and then it was. So, we sort of collaborate.
That's terrific. It really is. Okay, Variety, and you mentioned, 108 years in the art?
8 years old, yeah.
Oh, gosh. But it's changed dramatically because it started in New York as a publication, really going back to vaudeville, the theater, then movies, then it became very big in Hollywood, as well as New York, and now it is digital, period. Now, that's a tremendous change.
Well, the digital footprint, having Variety.com, which has had explosive growth this year. We had some folks running things at Variety who weren't exactly as progressive as our new owners, Jay Penske, who is a digital publishing genius. And so our website, the traffic on our site, I think we're up to over 7-8 million uniques a month. But our print product was also reinvented by Penske. And our print product every week is now the beautiful platform for the work I do. I couldn't be more thrilled to see when we do a section like 10 Directors to Watch or John Lee Hancock, Jonah Hill, to see it in this new print publication that has the greatest designers and photographers. It's been a good year.
Okay, now, I don't know. I know that obviously digitally you get it every day. Does the print publication, it used to come out every day. Now,
Yes.
now.
The daily Variety went away. But weekly, which is where Variety started in 1905, that is still with us and in a new format that's really very user-friendly.
It's wonderful. I wrote for it once. Okay,
I'm going to look it up in the archives and I'll send it to you.
Find it. I think 60 or 61 was when I did the one in Daily Variety. Okay, absolutely. All right, so now you'll... This to me is the heart of a film festival because you are acknowledging new talent. And that's what it's all about. The big stars are great, and you had big stars here today. But it's the heart, it's the creative process.
An example of this process and how it works is 17 years ago, on the very first list I put together of directors to watch, we put a Mexican director on named Alfonso Cuarón. This year, Gravity, 650 million world gross. Sandra Bullock, I feel certain to be Oscar nominated. I think The Picture as well, probably Cuarón. But that started because he was an unknown filmmaker from Mexico and we spotted him and festivals spotted him. His career started in the festival world, as is the case with so many. So it really is, if you're interested in what's going to be important in 5 to 10 years, you'll find it at a festival like Palm Springs.
Well, I want to thank you so very much. And I think, and I said this when I first came on the air with this show that we're doing right now, that this is the heart of the festival. And I'm so glad that we're able to share it with our viewers. Thank you.